Welcome to the Money Savvy Parents podcast, the podcast for entrepreneurial parents to work towards becoming financially invincible to then pass that vital life skill down through the generations. I am your host, Laura, mother to 3 beautiful children and founder, financial strategist for Savvy Peacocks. Each week, we'll be delving into a new money topic to get you and your family more money savvy. Let's remove the taboo from money together.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my podcast. Really appreciate you being here. Today, I wanted to share with you a funny story that's come out of my Savvy Students program. So in case you haven't heard, the program is designed for teenagers to get financially educated. And we talk around my 4 pillars of the things that I believe our teenagers and next generation need to get their head around. And something that's quite special about this program, if I need to say so myself, is that I talk about subjects that aren't sort of mainstream and basic. So I'm pretty sure most teenagers will know what a bank account is and what a savings account is. And I don't even go into things like standing orders and direct debits, actually. Like, we talk about making payments electronic, but we don't necessarily talk about what the difference is. To be honest, I think it's kind of irrelevant. They'll pick that stuff up on the way. What I want to teach them is the subjects that aren't talked about, that probably even a lot of adults don't know about. And they sort of have a laugh because I always say I'm meeting some sort of adults in their 40s that still don't know some of the stuff that I'm sharing with them on Savvy Students. So the 4 pillars that we look at is how to plan your money. So giving it a structure and a purpose, and how you can ensure that you don't get to the end of the month and find you've run out of money. How to earn money. So we talk about how important creating different income streams for different places and how you can protect that income, and the different ways in which tax works when you're earning income. That's quite well, I've tried to simplify it, but obviously it's quite difficult for our teenagers to get their head around. Then we talk about how to gain money, which is my favourite subject. So we talk about how credit is not necessarily a bad thing, and how you need to build your credit score and what that means and how you can work with it and the importance of it, and then what doors it opens up. So I give them some specific examples around, how to borrow money to purchase a house, how to borrow money to purchase a car, whether you should or you shouldn't use credit cards, and if you do, how to use them. I do also talk to them actually about overdrafts, because obviously that's probably the first lending that they're going to come across, because if they decide to go to university, chances are their student account will have an overdraft limit. So we talk about those examples. So it's a really great one. And then the 4th one is all about savings. So we talk about savings versus investments. Once you've worked out how much you're going to save, how do you segment that? How do you work out where to hold the money? What are the different savings options? What an ISA is, all of those things. So it's really sort of quite in depth. And what I love about it is in the final session, I give them opportunity to talk to me about their money-making ideas and to talk that through and what their vision might be and who they might sell it to and what the problems and the challenges might be. And then that's kind of all inspired by the second session, which is all about earning money, because I share my journey around working for a corporate versus now running my own business. And this week I had a funny conversation with one of the parents. Now, the parents don't often contact me. It's all communicated through email, and I send like reminders and I send notes and the recording and the replay. So I was quite surprised when this parent phoned me, because obviously I don't get phone calls from the parents very often. Anyway, parent comes on the phone saying, my son has been caught dealing at school since being on your Savvy Students program. And I've said it quite nicely there, but she was actually quite accusational, should we say, in her tone. So my reaction was like, what? Honestly, he seems like such a nice boy. I can't believe that would be the case. And, I absolutely promise that this isn't something we've talked about on the programme, like go back and listen. And, you know, I promise that this isn't something we've encouraged or advocated. And she said, well, he's been caught at school and he's even drawn other students into it because he's getting other students to hold his stash and it's just growing every day. And I said, oh my goodness, I'm so shocked and surprised. Like he's like the least person you would expect, because he actually comes across as quite entrepreneurial and switched on, and he's really interested in running his own business pretty soon. So I was really surprised. And she said, well, you could say that he's entrepreneurial because he's actually making a really healthy profit. He's making about £15 a day. And he's reinvesting that in more stock. I have to take him to the corner shop after school so he can buy more stock. And I said, what, he's getting drugs from the corner shop? Like, I didn't think you lived in that much of a dodgy area. And she said, drugs? No, what are you talking about? He's been dealing chocolate at school and absolutely loving it. And she said, thank you so much for unlocking his money-making spirit. She said, I feel like this is really just the beginning, which was it was honestly a very funny conversation, because we were on different pages, and it was because she said dealing, that's why she didn't say chocolate at the beginning. But I mean, to begin with, I was like, okay, like, thank goodness for that, because I did start to panic on the phone call. Now, obviously, you know, what this lad is doing is he's buying chocolate from the corner shop and reselling it to his mates at school. And I think she said he's buying like a pack of 4 for £1, and then he's selling them for 50p each. So he's making 100% markup on it, which, you know, first of all, I wouldn't advocate for that, because obviously the chocolates we buy in a shop are supposed to be not for resale. So if you wanted to do something like that, I would be saying maybe you should go to a wholesaler or Costco. I'm not quite sure how it works with Costco, but, you know, maybe that's a better choice than the corn shop, because I can't imagine the corn shop guy would be very happy. Then we talked about actually maybe in the school playground isn't a very good idea, because I've heard that some children have been excluded in other schools for that. And funny enough, when I started to talk about this on my social media, loads of people have come out and said, oh yeah, I used to do that at school. But some schools are really strict, and I wouldn't want anyone getting excluded. But maybe what he could do is sell it in the park after school, you know, all the way into school, just as long as it's not done on school grounds. So I did say maybe he needs to think about where he's doing it. But he's got real ideas, you know, like he wants to go off and buy little drinks of pop and, you know, sell what he can. He's worked out what sells well and what doesn't, and what people like. In actual fact, he said, he went to the corner shop, he said, Mum, I'm not going to buy those ones because they're all dusty. And my parents, she said, oh, why do you think they're all dusty? And he said, oh, that's because no one likes them, so I'm not going to buy them, because obviously no one buys them from this corner shop, so I know. So I thought it was quite funny. But, you know, it got me thinking, you know, it's not necessarily what I'm trying to teach to my students is, it doesn't have to be a big bold plan. This isn't forever. This is, how can you start off playing around with different things? What do you enjoy? What is there an opportunity for? And what would really sell? You know, if you want to sell to your equivalent, you know, other people that are like you, then what would you want to buy? And then use that information. A lot of business owners, actually, their ideal client is themselves, maybe a couple of years before, you know. So I think it got me remembering about some of the things I did when I was younger to earn money. I remember babysitting, which is a common one for people that live in sort of rural areas and on housing developments. So I used to go around the corner and babysit a young girl who's probably now in her late 20s at least. Maybe, or mid to late 20s, which is a bit scary. We've got a family of our own now. Makes me feel really old. And once upon a time, one summer, me and my best friend Sophie, we went around the neighbourhood offering to wash cars for people. And this has come up on my programme actually, because there's one lad said, oh yeah, we're doing this car wash at school, so I think I'll just carry that on and, you know, do it around my neighbourhood. He said, but I've realised that obviously that's very seasonal, because I'm not going to want to do that in the snow and the rain, and people don't like to have their car washed at that time anyway, so I'm going to think of something else to complement it. So that was really good. I mean, we didn't have that foresight. We just decided one day we were going to go and do it. And I think we charged £5 a car, but it actually, we made a nice bit of money between us, but it was hard work, all day with your hands wet. And even though it was sunny, it was hard work. So I think we did it that once and didn't do it again. There's something that always makes me giggle that this story reminded me of is my first ever money making idea was that my dad used to work quite a lot when we were younger. He used to very often already have got up and got out of the house before we were getting up for school. And he'd be back late, probably just by the time we were going to bed. So we wouldn't see a huge amount of him during the week. And I worked out that he's obviously very busy and the last thing he wants to be doing is chores at the weekend. And so I said to him, how about I iron your shirts for you, Dad, and get you ready for work? I can do it on a Sunday and then they'll all be ready for the week ahead. And funny enough, I've never spoken to him about this since. I don't know why I guess for him it was a time-saving thing, but it was. I think it was more that I'd taken the initiative to ask. Looking back now, it's quite funny because I used to actually charge him £1 a shirt, which I actually think was very savvy, because rather than saying, "Oh, I'll do your shirts and it'll be £5 an hour or something," I actually did it based on how fast I could do it. And I do remember hanging them up and him coming along to check them all and making sure they're absolutely perfect. But I used to charge him £1 a shirt, so I used to get a good, well, at least £5 a week. But sometimes I'd sort of offer to iron some of his personal clothes as well. So yeah, £1 an item, £1 a shirt, that's what I used to charge. And now I'm an adult, I'm thinking actually if I had to iron a load of work shirts, I think I'd pay someone to do £1 a shirt. Which brings me on to the other subject of this is, outsourcing. So I'm a big advocate for outsourcing in my business, but also in my personal life. So if there's anything that you have to do on a regular basis in your family that you really don't enjoy doing, or maybe there's something that you would go and ask someone else to do, like car washing is a perfect example, isn't it? You go and take your car down the road to the man and he's going to charge you £12 to have your car washed. Why not say to your kids, look, I can go down the road and pay £12 for the guy to do it, or do you want to do it and I'll give you £8? So you save a bit of money, they get out off their devices doing something and get to earn a little bit of money themselves, and then talk to them about what they're going to do with that money. Which, circling back to the chocolate story, I think that was the cleverest thing, is that he wasn't making money to keep that money to do something. He is so driven into the money I make, I'm going to reinvest back into stock and I want to grow it and grow it. And there's other kids that have tried to do a similar thing to him now and copy him, and they've sort of done it for a few days and they've given up because they can't keep up with the way he's set it up now, because he's reinvesting his profit back into stock. So I think that's a really important conversation. So yeah, I wanted to share it because I thought it was funny. And as a parting comment, I'll share with you my final sentence of that phone call with that parent was, you should tell him to try buying cream eggs, because everybody loves cream eggs at this time of year. So if you've got the next Elon Musk or Karen Brady or even Willy Wonka, then please send them my way. The next cohort is starting on the 20th of April. It's a 6-week program. It's £60. For that, they get the full program, all the recordings, the write-up of all the sessions, and they get a full certificate that they can put into their record of achievements. I know actually a lot of children are doing like Duke of Edinburgh these days, so it's nice to be able to have that evidence that you've kind of done something extra. And there will also be at the end of the program to have the opportunity to come and get mentorship from me. So it's a really great program. It's designed for teenagers. As I say, it starts the 20th of April. If that's not suitable, then it will go on for another 6 weeks after the May half term. And the sessions are on a Wednesday evening at 5:30. I hope you all have a great day, whatever you're up to, and I will enjoy having you back in the podcast, listening to me next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Money Savvy Parents podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please subscribe to be alerted to the new episodes. If you want to learn more about your relationship with money, then start off by taking my Money Languages quiz on my website, www.savvypeacocks.co.uk. Let's remove the taboo from money together.